Got a boss one today for you boys. We're going to be looking at guys versus girls in MMA. Yes, men versus women fights, because we want to see some of that equality being dished out. Women, they can do it just as good as the men these days. Strong, independent women. And the whole feminism movement has got women walking around thinking that they can even defend themselves against men. So let's look at some prime examples of how this is just not the case. Big shout out to the Ultimate Martial Art YouTube channel. They put together this video. This is my first time reacting to it.
Girls versus guys in MMA.
Oh, yeah.
It's not often that fans will see intergender mixed martial arts action, but where there's a will, there's a way. Typically, fighters are divided by gender, weight, and skill level. But these barriers aren't always there, and we'll spend this video highlighting some of these bouts. In this bout, we've got a display of two very different fighters.
I'm looking forward to seeing some awful skill by the men actually still be able to defeat the women. Now listen, you know, I'm not advocating for punching women whatsoever. These are arranged fights, but it's going to be exciting to see, isn't it? Let's see how it all pans out.
A 50-year-old man taking on a girl that has a size and apparent skill advantage.
Yeah, she's got that size advantage.
This isn't what you'll see.
She's got that body positivity advantage.
When turning on a UFC or PFL card, but it's entertaining nonetheless.
It is.
The female here strikes early and often with the roundhouse kicks and teep kicks up the middle. But the 50-year-old man is doing a good job mitigating the impact, despite not really knowing how he's doing it. Obviously, struggling with the pressure, the man will turn his back to his opponent and run away.
I'm just going to say that the girl actually looks more trained than the lad. Obviously, she's carrying a lot of weight. She looks about, I'd say, 280, about 280 pounds. What's that, about like 130-ish kilos? And the fella doesn't know what he's doing. Look at that for a martial art move. He accidentally tried a spinning back fist as he was running away.
As the fight continues, things begin looking up for the older gentleman.
Okay, he's got that side kick.
His side kicks and body
not
kicks
bad.
seem to bother his female adversary. Now that he's found his timing
They're not
and
bad
range,
side kicks.
will he be
They're quite
able
awful,
to
to
do
be honest.
much with it? Not much. He's continually cut off and pushed against the cage. Though he's the furthest thing from a technical fighter, he's making his kicks and foot.
That was an alright little side kick. It's terrible technique. I'm actually really good with side kicks. I knock a lot of people down when I'm sparring, especially when we get into hard sparring. Spinning back kicks, side kicks, wheel kicks or spinning kicks, whatever you want to call, are kind of my specialty. So I have got the ability to critique the guy, but hey, he got in there, kicked her right in the ovaries, inhibited her ability to have any babies for the next month.
Work for him. The advancing female fighter just can't quite trap her opponent. However, she ends the round by pushing him down to the canvas. This match did have a hiccup of not being intergender, as the cornerman of the female fighter scaled the cage and attacked the 50-year-old.
What?
He was given the boot, and the bout continued, because why not? As
What? The corner guy just came in and just got involved, and then the fight still continued. This is no UFC, this. Let's see what she's looking like.
The third round.
Not bad. Looks Romanian.
Begin.
Free top G's, free the tates.
The man found the tools that'll work for him en route to victory.
Come on, lads.
Takes his female foe down to the canvas
it.
and begins attacking from a headlock position. Right as the older man looks like he's about to finish the straight arm lock.
Kiss her.
Look at that.
Oh, here he is again.
Comes rushing back and attempts to attack again.
What the?
Despite this interference, the bouts once again continued, and the older gentleman secures the submission victory with 10 seconds left in the fight.
What the hell was all that about? These smaller leagues are just absolute chaos. No regulations whatsoever. If you ever want to know, the easiest way to tell if someone is untrained is the bent wrists. Anyone ever punches like that? Or the kind of paw at their opponent where it kind of swipes like this? It's not an overhand right. It's like a paw. That's a sign that someone can't fight. And yeah, bent wrists. That's why women look like they can't fight. You'd even see some girls in the UFC still punching like that. A lot of them can't punch. Finishing rate in the female divisions of the UFC is awful, but it's because they don't have the physicality. So that's why we need to stop this debate of, well, who's stronger, men or women? And the whole transgender debate, which I've got many videos on. In fact, got a video up here. Go and watch that, or I'll post it down in the description for you to watch after this video. Examples of transgender males coming into female sports, and it just ends them badly. So go and check that one out. One of my better videos. But even the fella was punching like that as well.
All right, let's turn our attention to Poland, where MMA can, well, host any number of...
Doesn't he look like the guy who was on the island with Tristan Tate? What was his name? Kitten.
What's your name again? Kitten. Is that your actual name? What's your actual name?
That's it. I don't like being ordered around. If he tries to tell me something to do, I'll simply tell him in 2 words. To be honest, right now I can't stand him. I don't like him at all.
Kitten is now an MMA fighter. If only Tristan Tate could see him right now, I'm sure he'd be proud.
Number of odd matchups. Don't get it wrong, Polish power is real.
Yeah.
But the matchmaking can
Shout out to Jan Blachowicz.
When Piotr
That was a knockout there.
Lisowski met his smaller female adversary, things seemed a bit tense and largely felt wrong. This feeling was only exacerbated as the fight moved forward. Piotr had a clear size and strength advantage that allowed him to fight from the outside, but when the distance was closed, he'd easily secure the takedowns. The end of the first round saw Piotr on the bottom with a locked-in inverted triangle. Round 2 begins, and it's more of the same.
What was that? Watch that punch, and he comes back and goes into a ninja stance. Watch this now.
Inverted triangle. Round 2 begins.
Look at that for the punch. Punching whilst looking behind you. And then comes back into the ninja stance.
More of the same.
Oh, yeah. Let me pull it over a little bit. There you go. Look at that for a ninja stance.
This
legend. Kitten is an MMA phenom.
Poor blonde girl just didn't have the attributes required
Good
to take
takedown.
on
Not.
Lisowski. He took him down once again in the second round and easily moved into the mount position. He then landed some ground and pound that warranted the referee's intervention. This event didn't end there.
Oh, what the hell is going on? We've got girls who somewhat look quite decent versus the LGBTQ division. We had the BMF belt, now we need the LGBTQ belt. I think if she can get him in a triangle choke, even just a small whiff of her pussy will make him tap.
Yet another dolled-up male took on a much smaller female later that night. He was able to make it look less competitive, although he might have been the least skilled on the card. A series of light but frequent punches urged the referee to stop the action almost instantly.
This isn't me making the video jumpy, by the way. It's just like that. It must just be the footage.
Bigger men fighting women? Well, so are we.
Oh, man.
There's a whole lot
He needs to fight the first girl.
In this particular match, we have a guy who may be 1, 2, or 10 weight classes above his female opponent. Small and svelte doesn't mean she doesn't pack a punch, however. With evasive footwork and excellent timing, she tries to make the most out of what she's got. As she
How
tries
was this
to
set
dance
up?
around her opponent, she's eventually cut off and pressed against the
Fuck,
fence.
that's scary.
Forced to have this gentleman's weight pressed against her, things are looking rough for this female athlete.
That is scary.
The referee eventually steps in and breaks the fighters for lack of action.
He could literally just drag her down to the floor, roll on top of her, and she'll have to tap out because having one of his titties in your gob, it's going to make you tap. I'm not afraid to admit, I remember tapping once because my mate who was on the gear, he's got big pecs. He was lying on top of me in full mount or half mount, I can't even remember, but he's quite strong. I was knackered and I couldn't breathe, and he had his pec in my mouth, and I was like, I just had to tap to get him off me. So imagine this guy on you with all the hairs in your mouth and that.
Where she brings some technical striking and nice movement, this man's only using his size to press the action.
You're not getting through all them layers of donuts, girl.
He constantly presses her against the fence and wears on her.
That's it, suffocation.
Again, these promotions are very bizarre. Ready for a callback?
Extremely.
The woman from the previous video jumps into the octagon and attacks the forward pressing man. Regardless, this match continues and actually ends up going the distance.
Oh my God.
The man known as Grigory Chestiakov won via decision. Listen,
you are an absolute fanny if you weigh 400 pounds and you cannot finish a 125 pound girl. What the hell? You need to reevaluate your entire life choices. You're sitting there eating chippies and donuts all day and you can't finish a girl who's clearly not even skilled. She didn't do anything. She didn't pose a threat whatsoever. Is this what masculinity is? Does this look like masculinity to you guys? The Shaun Jones channel is all about releasing your inner masculinity through fitness, through finances, through game, improving your confidence and becoming the man you want to be. This guy looks like he's the man who he wants to be. He's 400 pounds, can't even finish a friggin' tiny little girl.
Shocker, right? This isn't the only instance of Grigory Chestiakov partaking in intergender mixed martial arts. He was also seen taking on Darina Madzia. He brought in the same game plan for this fight.
I'm rooting for the girl.
Forward and hoped to suffocate his opponents, not with a choke, but merely with his mass.
Come on, Davina. She looks all right here.
But Darina is a whole different animal.
Come on.
She attacked with straight shots,
Superman
punches, and kicks. These attacks bothered Grigory, and it showed on his face. Regardless, he was able to press her onto the fence for his game plan.
Yes, come on.
However, a lack of action prompted the referee to step in
and
placed back into the center of the ring.
Okay, guys, I've 180'd on this video. I was rooting for the men to give these women a dose of equality, but I want Darina to win this because she's fiery, she looks good, she looks pretty, but she can fight at the same time. We'd absolutely hit it off like crazy if it was me and her tackling the world. But she needs to give it to this guy because he needs to learn that he's a little fanny. The fact that he's 400 pounds and can't even finish a woman who's completely unskilled. But Darina knows what she's doing. I can tell by that ground and pound, cocking the hands back, bang, bang, bang.
It was then that the unexpected happened.
Come on.
Darina landed a series of right hands that sent Grigori down to the mat.
Get him.
She then landed punch after punch, and her opponent then tapped out due
That's
to
it.
strikes. This might be the weirdest fight to ever take place.
What was that?
Tapped out due to strike.
That's a nice view, guys. I hope I don't get demonetized, but come on. This is premium quality content here. If you haven't subscribed by now, what are you doing? Shaun Jones, the next big channel from the UK. No BS, man stuff, and we got arse right here for you. MMA girls getting their arse out, beating a fat guy, trying to teach him some life lessons. But you know what? Hats off to him. He stepped in there, not against a man, but against a few women. But Darina, well in, girl.
This might be the...
Ooh, what the hell? Look at this guy on the right. Oh my god, this video is actually taking me on an absolute roller coaster. I can't wait to put this out and get 200 views.
The weirdest fight.
Come on, guys, like the video.
And that's saying a lot given the previous bouts in this video. Two tattooed fighters, old and young, took on a female that doesn't exactly have the physique of one to challenge Amanda.
We got the 6'9" family tree in the building.
She surprised many within seconds of the fight starting. A 2-on-1 handicap match would usually spell disaster immediately.
Oh, she's getting
This
it.
woman is a better fighter than she appears to be.
Yeah.
Or the two guys are just really bad. It might be
I think so. Yeah,
the bout begins, and so do the strikes. The older gentleman takes the lead and tries to close the distance using feints. But he sat down with a series of strikes from this brave woman.
Go on, get him.
She didn't keep the knockdowns just for him, as she also rocked the younger of the male fighters. It's hard to secure a TKO
that's lame.
when you have
Come on, boys.
To deal with, so these knockdowns were often interrupted. All three athletes, we use that word lightly here,
not athletes.
And the action ensues.
This is lame, this.
Gentleman advancing and giving it his all
Look.
to attempt strikes. The woman has the size advantage, but she's clearly on the more
Look at the boy.
Side of the
Look at him.
Regardless, she's doing very well.
If that was my son, I'd get him back in ours and I'd give him a hiding. I'd be like, you couldn't beat up a woman, a fat woman. All you had to do was let her chase you around the ring and she'd be gassed after 20 seconds. Come on, lad. I was brought up doing martial arts my entire life. I've sparred with girls my entire life. And listen, I've even sparred with girls who were pretty good. And I have to hold back a lot. I'm not saying I'm amazing, by the way. The other lads who go to kickboxing with me, we have to hold back. So we have to let the girls kind of get off on us a little bit. And we've got to block and just throw out, some nice little strikes and that. But we've got to pull back. You don't realise how much easier it is to hurt women if you just actually have decent technique or you have a bit of commitment. These fellas, I assume it's dad and lad, dad and son, they haven't got a freaking clue. If they get attacked on the street, how is he going to be able to defend his son? Being serious for a minute, though. How's he going to be able to defend his family when he's got all these tattoos and a big mohawk, looks scary, and all piercings? You see him on the street and you go, oh, he looks scary. But this is what I mean. A lot of people get all these tattoos and the piercings and that for show, to super compensate. The same with a lot of people who get on the gear, bodybuilders. They can't fight. They do it because they want to look intimidating, because they're actually not really intimidating. I might look a little bit more slim and on the athletic side, but I'll happily take on a bodybuilder or whatever. Get me in the YouTube boxing scene. How about that? Or maybe like a kickboxing fight or an MMA fight. But boxing, whatever, it doesn't even really matter. That's where we're going to go eventually. Get me to 100,000 subscribers and we'll all see Shaun Jones walk the walk instead of just doing these commentary videos and talking the talk, because I can do both. Right, back to it.
The two men are hesitant to close the distance now, and they know the woman has the ability to knock them down.
Come on, Gil.
First round
he fell over by himself.
And they know the
Look,
woman has
watch
the
him
ability
on the
to
left.
knock them down. The first round concludes, and it seems that the woman won that one on the judges' scorecards.
Yeah, come on,
In
Gil.
this bout, we have a man taking on a woman in a
that.
backyard kickboxing match. While the setting isn't as high profile as previous entries,
I think this is Street Beefs. Big shout out to Street Beefs. I've watched quite a lot of fights from these. A lot of the time you find that the amateur fights, they're not even amateur fights, let's face it, the proper lower class fights. These fights are more entertaining because no one's got any defense and they just throw their arms and often someone gets knocked out. So the lower skilled fighters, the lower the skill is of the fighter, the more entertaining it can be. That's why when you get two of the best fighters in the world face each other, sometimes they cancel each other out and it's a boring fight because they're too skilled. Look at Mighty Mouse Johnson. He's arguably one of the best GOATs of MMA, but a lot of his fights were boring back in the day. He's obviously smashing it now in 1FC, but because that division was that skilled and everyone was so fast and the defense was that amazing, it's rare that you'd ever see many finishes or the fights to be long and drawn out, a lot of decisions. You see Israel Adesanya, he kind of takes the fight a little bit more slow as well. You look at Floyd Mayweather. A lot of these high-level fighters can be a little bit, quote-unquote, boring. These low-level fighters are hilarious.
The bout may hold the most skill in this entire video.
Okay.
The girl sporting
Some
the
skill then.
tie shorts while her male opponent seems
Let's
to
have a
be
look.
wearing dickies, which aren't exactly known as garb for a
Girl on the
kickboxing
left,
match.
boy on the right.
Regardless, the match begins and the action is immediately interesting. The girl
Okay.
does a great job jabbing and throwing leg kicks, moving her head off the center line as she does so. She shows
All right, nice
up
little
well
kick.
whenever
Okay.
the guy tries to brawl with her. She seems to have formal training and
Oh,
a higher
little
than
question
normal
mark.
fight IQ. However, the longer the match goes on, the more comfortable the guy becomes.
Yeah.
He begins landing kicks of his own and finding his
Yeah,
range.
he's got it.
The longer the fight goes on, the more it seems that it plays into the man's favor. The girl's still in the bout by the end of the first round, but it
Yep,
seems that
she's
her
hanging in there.
cardio is failing her. The second stanza just picks up where the first round dropped off. The man's throwing combinations and landing a good amount of shots, while the girl's landing
No
leg
technique,
kicks,
but you can tell
but
he's done a little bit of
lost most her
training.
steam. In the most exciting moment
Hey,
of the
not
fight,
bad, not
the girl
bad.
goes high. They've
She's done
lost
like a little
most of their
fake. She's done a little fake flying knee, was that? Or fake front kick into a low kick. Good. Yeah. Nice.
In
And then
most
throw the low kick. That was good.
exciting moment of the fight, the
Good
girl
technique.
goes high with a kick
Not good technique, but good combo.
and lands hard enough to send her
Hey.
opponent's mouthpiece flying.
Yeah.
The two continue to exchange in what is a pretty closely contested fight. This bout went all 3 rounds and needed the help of the judges to see who won. The winner? Well, this shows how close it really was, but the bout was declared a draw.
Once again, you're a lad and you can't really get the finish on a girl. I understand that she was decently trained. He might have even been holding back a little bit as well. But come on, you got to step up your game a bit. Now, there's a lot of lads out there who'll be watching this completely agreeing with me, who've never done any training before. They've never been in the gym. They've never trained any martial arts before. And you're just sitting there smoking weed, scratching your ass, eating crap, going, yeah, I'd batter them. I had a street fight once and I cracked them in the jaw and I battered them. A lot of the time in street fights, it's just low-skilled people versus low-skilled people. And it comes down to look at the draw and who's got the most confidence and who's most game. It's not a skill thing. So if you come up against someone who's actually skilled and confident, you're screwed. And I'm a firm believer in walk away from as many fights as possible. It's better to have that self-control, drop your ego, and potentially not get hurt. You see it all the time where someone will get punched, they fall on the floor, and they end up dying from cracking their head on the floor. Or next thing, someone pulls out a knife, people are getting stabbed. It's just not worth it. But you should learn how to fight. So when you're walking down the street with your missus or with your family or your son or your daughter, whatever it might be, you know that you can walk down the street with your chest held high with complete, utter confidence in your competence. Okay? I'm not the hardest man in the world, but I can certainly handle myself really, really good. So I can walk around with my chest held high and I have no ego. I have no need to prove myself either. I don't need to prove my masculinity. And you'll notice some of the best fighters in the world and the people who are really tough are the same. They're the most soundest people. And same goes for you girls out there. Listen, the majority of men are going to be stronger than you. If a man gets a hold of you, chances of you being able to get him off quite small. But if you've trained for a long period of time and you've done boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, and you lift weights, it just gives you a better chance of survival. I can train all my life and someone comes along who's never trained and just, boom, crack me once and I go flat out. But by me training my entire life, it minimizes the possibility of that happening. If you haven't liked the video yet, please drop me a like. And if you like content like this, check out one of these other videos on the screen. We upload videos every single day on this channel. Appreciate yous. See yous tomorrow.